Hey guys, it's Val, and before we start episode 6, I just wanted to let you guys know some updates about the podcast. So first of all, I want to thank you guys so much for 90 downloads so far in the podcast. I also want to thank you guys for sharing the podcast and also for any donations that you guys have sent to the podcast through the Cash App. All those donations are going to go back into the podcast and to pay for the podcast hosting website. So thank you guys again for listening to the podcast, and I'll see you guys at the beginning of the episode. Hey guys, it's Val, and welcome to episode 6 of my podcast, where we talk about different relationship dynamics. And for today, we're going to be talking about how is it dating as a Christian guy? What has been our experience dating as a Christian guy? And what are some things that we wish that we did not do, or my guest wish that he didn't do? Why is it are we grateful for him? What should we look for when we are dating, when we're looking for a Christian woman? And what should we be asking of a Christian woman? What does being a good, respectable Christian guy look like? And what should me or we as Christian guys be looking to provide for the Christian woman? Does look and sexual attractiveness matter in a Christian relationship? And is dating even worth it, since it's basically like being friends without the sex part? So so in order to talk about all those topics, I have invited a mentor of mine, and his name is Pastor Filip, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Valdrix, thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate it, brother. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. And as you said, people call me pastor, they call me mentor, they call me guru, they call me friend, they call me buddy. I'm a pastor here at the Loma University Church, but man, really my core being is just a love for Gen X, Gen Z, Gen Y, millennials, love youth and young adults, and just want to see them launch to the next level of life and live at their peak performance. And so I think this is probably one of the most relevant conversations that you can have with people about romance, relationships, how to do this right. So I'm looking forward to it, brother.
All right, so me too. All right, so the first question is, what has been your experience dating as a Christian guy when you're like my age or younger, older?
Yeah, I mean, man, I would say it was interesting because my parents told me, Filip, you can't date. They literally just flat out said that. And now I'll tell you this though, they didn't say that at first. They just said, you don't need to do that. And I said, really? Come on, like be more specific, like, because I really like this person. I like this person. I kind of see all my buddies dating, we're in 5th grade even, and they're starting to date people. And here I am in 8th grade, 9th grade, and they're like, just wait till you're 16. So, I didn't actually really have my first girlfriend till I was 16, exactly, my sophomore year in high school. Wow. But I was a big flirt. I talked with all kinds of girls. Definitely wanted to pursue a relationship, but I honestly just had a lot of fun in life. I loved basketball, I loved sports. So I wasn't necessarily involved to the extent that I really needed that. I just had so much good going on for me that it wasn't like a awful thing if I didn't have a girlfriend. Man, I was just doing so much in life that it was okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, then so you didn't date a lot. However, when you did date, what are some things that you wish that you did not do when it came to dating, like as a young adult or like as a young guy?
Yeah, and that I think, well, let me just answer the first question just a little bit further, because I realized I dated first time sophomore year in high school. Then that lasted like 2 weeks.
Bro.
That lasted like 2 weeks. I'll tell you why, Valdrix. The girls started saying, I love you to everyone around me. I was like, what in the world? Why is she saying I love you to everyone? And then we were sitting on a couch and she had her hand around me. And at the same time, she was like playing with the guy's hair next to me. I was like, okay, I'm done with this. This is ridiculous. What in the world?
This sounds like a TikTok video. What? But like, I'm so confused. Like, how does that happen like in real life like that?
Valdrix, you're in high school and people are just dumb and stupid. It happens.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
Oh man, I felt angry. I felt like crap. I was just like, what are you doing? You're flirting with all these other people. You say you like me, and yet all of your kind of games you're playing communicate that it's not just about me. You're not committed to just me. You're committed to kind of just getting love from everyone and everywhere. So that lasted 2 weeks. Then the next girl I dated my junior year lasted 6 months. She was a senior.
Big improvement.
A little improvement. She was a senior, and that was great. Had a wonderful time. Very sweet girl. And then she left for college, and so I was like, you know what? Go ahead. I don't know if we should be doing long distance. I didn't want to do that, so we ended things. And then senior year, I dated someone very seriously for like 9 months. We broke up, and then thought about getting back together, and then, yeah. But again, we were going to different schools and we didn't want to do long distance. At least I didn't. And then in college, my freshman year, I dated someone again seriously. And I took a year off, actually. I wanted to kind of give 1 year of my life to serving in a community that needed help. And so I was, we called it task force, kind of student mission year. Okay. And so I took a year off, and I told that girl, man, again, I'm sorry, I'm leaving. Goodbye. You know, we got to end things. I want to dedicate a year just to serving Jesus, getting my life right and in order. So all that to say is I dated probably 3-4 people, and it was serious enough to realize when my mom looked at me before I left for that student mission year, she said, Philip, when are you going to get serious about dating and stop messing around with girls' hearts? Oh, damn, man.
You sound like a player. Oh, bro.
Oh, man.
Wow.
And the thing is, Valdrix, that hit me so hard, Val. I was just like, shoot, Mom, you're right.
Okay, but when she said that, though, like, it doesn't sound like you were doing it on purpose, though, you know? Because, like, I feel like you had, like, reasons why you were leaving those girls. It wasn't like you were trying to hurt them.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, my mom knew me deeper than that. You know, she saw the other girls I was talking to and having deep conversations that would go nowhere and leading them on. And so she was just seeing this pattern. Hey, you're leading girls on. They're amazing girls and you're not going anywhere. You know, that's not right. Either be committed for something bigger or get out of the game. You're messing around. So that was a big one for me. Because honestly, I look back at those relationships and I say, like your second question, like, what do you regret? I mean, it's like, dude, I regret emotionally leading these girls on and not actually fulfilling the hope and desire they had in their heart. I mean, dude, literally from that second girlfriend on, they all had wedding and a marriage in mind. You know, it was like, I'm hoping we're gonna get married. Like, wow, you know, and the thing is, it's like amazing girls, like great people, but I wasn't ready for that. I was still so immature. I wanted to like play and mess around, travel the world, do good things, like just have fun. And they were ready to like, dude, here's a great guy. I want to settle down. I want to get married like in a couple years. I think you're the one. It's like, me? Wow. Wait, I'm not ready for that. No, I'm 18, 19. So that's one thing. Emotionally leading people on, I regret that. That wasn't right, you know? That wasn't helpful. Second thing is, I think I didn't stand up to the pressure of my surroundings enough. You know, I didn't lead well as a man at 16, 17, 18. I just kind of went along with the pressure of what everyone else was doing, you know. And what were my buddies doing? What were they talking about? They were talking about, hey, man, we did this, we went this far physically, we did that, man, I got to touch this area, I touched that. And it's like, wow, you're young. Sounds exciting. Like, oh my gosh, you touched her breasts. Like, you did what? You did this. Another buddy's like, hey, we had sex. Like, what? Oh my, whoa, you know. And there's just this excitement. Now, I'll tell you this. I went to my wedding bed a virgin. Okay.
Wow.
A virgin.
Good job.
But that and I praise God for that, man. But I didn't go there completely pure in every way, because I crossed boundaries physically that I regret. And I went further than I needed to, because this is the thing. You got to realize this psychology in terms of sexuality and connection between a guy and a girl, regardless of the age. One psychologist talked about it this way. He said, while a guy can go as far as he wants physically with a girl and not be as affected, and they part ways, the detriment is significantly heavier on the woman. And she will be left with some form of harm. Whether it was a mutual relationship or something, that girl is giving of herself in hopes that this doesn't just end with this physical moment, but that there is more to it. And that's the issue that I see with my past personally. It was like, I kind of enjoyed this emotional flirtation. I enjoyed the kind of a little bit of sexual exploration. Didn't have sex, thank God for that. But further than I went, you know, I didn't need to go that far even. But I had no end of full commitment there. So I regret that. And I'll tell you, I think that's where you got to look at this. Okay. You look at the paradigm of growth. Okay. Friendship, you grow in friendship, and you grow intimately with someone, and you grow emotionally with someone, and you grow spiritually with someone. But if one of those things is going faster and higher than the other ones, you're going to be out of balance. So if your commitment level is like right here, but your sexual intimacy level is right here, you're out of balance.
Wow.
You're gonna fall. You're gonna lead someone to falling in a way that is going to be detrimental to them in some way. It can come from misleading them with their expectations. They think they're going to get married. They think someone's going to protect them if they have a baby when they have sex. Heck no, he's out, he's gone, you're left with the baby, I'm sorry. Or the unfortunate reality, STIs. Dude, people get diseases that last with them for life. I don't think people consider that enough.
That's true.
And so that's for real. And even though you're quote, I'm protected, dude, both of my buddies got married the same summer I did. They all used protection. They all got babies with that still. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So you got to be prepared. If you're gonna do the adult married thing, you got to be ready for the adult married consequence of potentially having a baby. And if you're being promiscuous with a lot of people, you got to be ready for the consequence of emotional harm or physical harm, in that you might get an STI. So that's why everything needs to flow together. You got to be in balance. So your commitment level needs to follow your intimacy level. So if you're just dating, you can't expect to have sex with someone you're dating.
You cannot.
You cannot. This sounds crazy, I know, Val.
Yeah.
There's some people that are watching this, they're like, wait, what? But
the question is why though?
Okay, let's talk about the why. Okay, so first I talked about the psychology, didn't I? I said psychologically there is an impact that social scientists have found that happens particularly, not that it doesn't happen to guys, but particularly to women. And especially when it doesn't lead to commitment at a marriage level. Okay,
so question. When we date, is the angle marriage, or like can we just date and see like where it goes? Because I feel like that's why we say a like, or like we didn't see where it goes, and then but like is that not good?
Yeah, I'm not about that. I'll tell you why. And I know some people, even Christians, like they'll be like, hey dude, listen, you got to date a lot, date a bunch of people, explore the world, see everything you can see, and then you make a decision. Okay, that's valid. The problem is that sets you up for saying, I can test all the waters and I can close anything when I don't feel like it's good. But the problem is marriage isn't like that. You're going to experience hell and problems and difficulties, and you can't just walk away. And so when you practice that in your dating relationship, hey, I'll date someone, this doesn't work, forget it, whatever, I'm done, I don't need to spend my time there. And you habituate this type of behavior, then it's like when you get to marriage, and dude, let's just say it, like stuff hits the fan, life gets rough, things get hard. Why are people walking away? Because they've habituated this pattern of, it didn't work, I'm out. Like a kid.
Go ahead.
Let me just say this one thing. Listen, I just saw a kid at the pool this week. I took my daughter to my parents' home. They have a community pool there. And this one little kid is playing there by himself. I'm like, oh, where's your dad? Oh, he's over there. Oh, where's your mom? Yeah, my mom and dad, they broke up. They just didn't like each other anymore.
Wow.
Right? He used the terminology he understood, breaking up,
yeah.
And he thought it's okay for parents to break up. Dude, let's talk about marriage for a moment, Valdrix. You got parents, you understand, hey, that's real. And everyone here who's watching, they've got parents, they understand marriage is real. Like, dude, you're gonna see your parents fight, you're gonna see them get into arguments, you're gonna see all kinds of stuff. And divorce is real as well. And so if you're habituating a pattern of dating that says, this guy's toes are too long, forget it, I'm done with that guy. You know, wow. This girl talks too much, I'm done with that, forget that. You know, this guy doesn't make enough money, but he's got all these other things, forget that, right? We are so shallow in our preferences and how we just throw people aside. I am so against that. I think you need to spend more time in friendship with people, groups of people, in intentional friendship. Like, invite certain girls to group gatherings that you have, go to the beach, go see something, go to church together with a bunch of, and intentionally have conversations with them in those spaces. Watch them, study them.
So are you saying that we should, so I don't believe that guys and girls can be friends, just platonic friends for long. Like, I think that eventually somebody is going to catch feelings for the other. So like, are you suggesting that, like, before you even like think about like dating a girl, you should like approach her to become her friend with the intent of moving it further if you like interested, or like you should just like let it happen, or should you go after her and become her friend for that purpose of like getting to know her that way before going to dating?
Yeah, no, Valdrix, I mean, I think that's smart. There's nothing wrong with that. You're pursuing someone in a friendship space to study them. That's the thing. You and I think the problem is too many people don't spend long enough in the study space. We kind of jump into like feelings quick, and then the problem is technology. You get on your phone and you chat every minute, every day, for hours, for days, and you feel like you know them so well after a week. Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like that's true. Cause there'll be some girls I talk to in like a week. Like, I didn't know like how almost like the whole life story.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I know them. So okay, but then the thing is, have you heard of the friend zone?
Oh, totally, sure.
Is that good then? If a girl puts you in the friend zone, because that way you can study her, maybe? No.
Oh, dude, Val, I think that's good to be in the friend zone for a season with someone. I think that's awesome because you develop a stronger friendship. And this is the thing. I'm not saying you shouldn't have like one-on-one friendships with people that you like hang out with. But I am saying you shouldn't habituate like this idea of like, hey, let me just go out on a date with this person. Let's see what happens. You should spend time with these people in spaces where you can get to know them intentionally without upping the expectation level. Oh, it's a date. This means I change how I talk and what I say. I gotta be careful. When you're in friend groups, dude, people are being themselves, dumb and idiots and funny and sad, and they'll tell you more than they would if they're on a date.
But
you find out.
Like, does that work though? Like it sounds good on paper. Like it sounds like it would work on paper, but like in the real world, like, does it actually work though? Because like,
listen, the older I get and the more older young adults I talk with, it gets harder because of distance, and people don't get to hang out in community as much, especially during the pandemic. And so it's much easier to just kind of jump on an app and flip through pictures and judge them by their looks, because you can't see their
Tinder.
Yeah, Tinder and Bumble and Omingo, whatever, all these.
Do you think that's a place for a Christian guy?
Dude, Valdrix, that's a tough one. I won't say no explicitly, but I will say no. I'm gonna change that. I don't think a guy needs to be on there, because you don't get to know the character of a person just by a picture. The thing is, I think dating apps are better than Tinder and Bumble, because all of those just show you a picture about a person, and it's like, if her boobs are hanging out, or the guy's wearing a nice fly shirt, or he's got a nice car with him in the picture, or you judge them based on the exterior. With a dating app, you actually get to read a little bit about them, a little better than just the shallow flip.
Yeah.
Now I've married, I've done weddings for people that have met on Tinder, so like,
wow.
It
Wow.
it happens, but I don't think that's the ideal. I'll say that it's not the ideal. I would say go find a good dating app before you just think you're gonna find someone based on Tinder.
Wow.
But you got to be careful if you do use those apps.
Okay. So let's say you're a Christian guy, right? What should you be looking for in a Christian woman? Or like, what type of woman would you consider to be a Christian woman that as a guy I should be going after?
Yeah. So let me ask you first, like, if you thought about this question, what's one thing you would say?
One thing that I would say that would make a Christian woman stand out, right? As like a Christian woman?
Yeah.
That she goes to church.
Yeah, my boy.
Yeah.
Hey,
I think that's a good place to start. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I totally am with you in that one.
But like, can I be honest though?
Yeah.
I've never dated a girl that goes to church. Like, I don't know why, but like, I feel like dating in church is like, it just feels weird. Like, especially approaching a girl at church that you're interested in and getting to know her. Like, it's just so weird. Like all my dating has happened from girls from school, but like never in like the church setting. And like, I realized I'm not the only one that goes to that, because all my friends like they date the girls not necessarily from the church, not from school, and they see like they find it more difficult to actually like express interest in a girl at church. Yeah. So I don't know why.
Okay, I'm not gonna say this exactly is the case, but I mean, I think it's normal, because you spend 5 of your days with those people, and you just spend a couple hours with these girls that are here at church,
But honestly, I feel like it's taboo, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why, but I just feel like it's not supposed to happen. Like, yeah.
I mean, you know what the thing is, because I was like really strong about, hey, don't just mess around, just go on a few dates. I think people then get scared, because like, oh shoot, like, we probably shouldn't just go on a bunch of dates, because the pastor or these churches think like we shouldn't be dating, And so I know there's that stigma, and it can be tough. But I also think some guys who are Christian are a little bit more, I won't use the word cowardly, but I think they're scared. I think they're scared of good girls too. I think they're scared of good girls, and I think it's easier sometimes to pursue someone that you just think is a little bit easier to catch.
So okay, so when you say like good, like we're scared, like are we scared that the woman is so good that she's going to like hold us accountable for the way that we behave in the relationship?
That's one for sure, because now all of a sudden it's like you got someone who has the same morals you do. And she's not gonna say like, hey, my body's available, let's hang out tonight, let's do whatever we like. And not to say that people who are not Christian don't have morals. Let me be clear on that. I'm not saying that. But there is for sure within religious groups, whether it's Jewish, Muslim, Christian, I'm Seventh-day Adventist, every religious group does have moral standards. Whereas in normal society, the standards are there, but they're much looser and flow differently, and they're not as rigorous. So even though someone may have a personal standard, the likelihood when you meet someone at school who's not going to church regularly or a sacred place and isn't involved in community, their standards are going to be looser, whether it's a guy or a girl, because they don't have intrinsic accountability into their life. Their parents probably don't even care. Listen, in America today, there are more people leaving churches than they are going to churches. We're becoming much more of a secular country and nation. And so the standards, the moral fabric, ethical fabric of our society is definitely going to be shifting in the years coming ahead, even faster than it is right now.
Wow. Okay, so you said that like the first thing that we should look for, like when we want to judge a girl as like a Christian girl, like a good woman, is does she goes to church? So is there anything else that we should be like, I should be looking for in order to like decide if like that's a good woman that I should pursue?
I would say definitely a girl who exhibits some exterior practices of faith. So going to church is one for sure. When she is at church, is she a person who's serving? Is she willing to volunteer? Or is she the girl that's just kind of hanging out with her girlfriends, or the guy that's just chatting with his buddies? Is this a person who's like, hey, pastor, hey, deacon, how can I help? Where can I be of use? Bro, you're going to get a hardworking girl who hustles, a guy who knows the value of good work, who gives of himself. If you get a guy who's selfish, who's sitting there kind of in the corner on his phone, or a girl who's just chatting there with her buddies, this is a girl who doesn't have hunger to help society in a deeper level. They're too into themselves. I'm not about that. That's not for me. When I was looking at Elena, man, dude, when she told me she goes and volunteers at Native American reservations, she puts on sports camps for kids, she's helping at another retreat center for this and that, I was like, hey, this girl understands the value, A, of work, B, she understands the value of serving people less fortunate. And that's important, because marriage, this is the thing. Everything you look for, you want to know, how does this apply to marriage? A girl who knows how to work, who knows how to serve, a guy who knows how to work, who knows how to serve, they're going to apply that to their relationship. They will serve you then, and you will serve them mutually. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 21. Husbands and wives, submit to one another. Submission is so important. In society, the word submission is a negative term.
Okay,
but
so what does it mean?
Well, okay, what does it mean? The culture of submission is actually really beautiful, because that was the origin story from creation. Adam and Eve came about as equals. Eve, the scripture says in chapter 1 and 2, 3 there, creation story, was taken out of Adam's rib, and God formed Eve. So you have this creation of equality. She wasn't taken from his head, so she'd be better and smarter, wasn't taken from his feet, but creation out of him from the side. So there was this equality. God always designed co-equality between a man and a woman. And so the idea is always there would be an equality and submission to each other. I'm going to serve you. Guess what? You serve me too, because that's love. That's give and take. These guys who are machistas, who like, no, woman, you clean and you cook, you do everything for me, I bring the money home. Man, that brother is messed up and is not right.
Wow. Okay, question. What is love to you? So like, what is love?
Yeah, love.
Yeah.
Val, when you think about love and the misunderstandings of love, what would you say that is before we talk about what is real love? What are the misunderstandings of love?
Well, okay, I'll give you my definition of love. So like lately, like as I've been doing this podcast, like I've kind of like gotten like an idea of what I think love should be.
Okay.
I think, in my opinion, I think that love is basically you choosing to make somebody else's life a little more bearable, you know, a little less painful, but at like a cost to you, you know what I mean? So it's gonna take you to sacrifice something in order to like make somebody else's life a little bit easier. I think that's what love should be for me. But like looking around, like I feel like love is portrayed as, you know, a feeling, not an action. And I feel like people say like, you know how they say like you fall in love. I don't think you fall in love. I think love is a choice more than like, you know. So I mean, because like every time like I'm falling in love, like I'm falling right back out. So it's like, and like, have you ever heard somebody say like, I love my ex, but then like he's your ex? So like, I've also like wondered about this thing too, because I feel like if he was your ex, then I mean you should still be in a relationship with him. So how can you love him but he's your ex? So I feel like love is something that you have to choose to do. It's not just a feeling. Yeah.
Those are wise words, Val. I think you're right, man. Love is an action. Love is a choice. There's this story of Jesus who was literally taken in chains and brought before the main kind of ruler there, Pontius Pilate. And Pontius Pilate looks at him and he says, hey, what is truth? What is truth, Jesus? And Jesus doesn't say a thing. Whoa, wait, come on. This is your opportunity to speak up, to tell the truth. And Jesus doesn't say a thing. Why? Because Pontius Pilate couldn't recognize that truth is a living action embodied in Jesus. He was the embodiment of truth. And so, and Jesus also likewise is love, the scriptures say. He's in the embodiment of love. So love, bro, I think you're right. It is an action. It is a choice that we make. The notion of love being a feeling is true, but it cannot be the foundation of your relationship. Because like you said, I think that's smart, man. You can fall in and out of love if it's a feeling.
Yeah.
That's totally okay to a limit, but it can't be the basis of your relationship. If it is, you're going to be falling in and out of relationships a lot too.
Wow.
So love is an action, and it's a daily choice. Every day I have to choose to love my wife. Some days I feel like she's amazing, hot, beautiful, funny, creative, caring, compassionate. And then there are other days I'm like, man, you are not that at all.
Wow.
And I have to say, I'm gonna love you on your best and your worst day.
I mean, that is what you said in the marital vows, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so question. So like, how would I know that I've become like the good Christian guy? Like, what does being a good, respectable Christian guy look like?
I think everything that you desire in someone, you need to be as well. That's the first thing I would say. Some Christian guys really want to marry like this amazing person. And yet when you look at their life, you're like, bro, You are a complete doofus, immature, still messing around with this, with that. Bro, you got guys who are still playing on video games alone. They're jacking off in the room, watching pornography every single day, multiple times. They don't know how to spend money. They're foolish with their family, don't know how to respect people. You know, listen, those are things, it's struggles that you got to work through, but you can't stay at that level all of your life. Right? Yeah. I'm not saying video games are bad. I'm not saying if you're struggling with an addiction to pornography or other things that you are a horrible person or anything. But what I am saying is you got to grow from that. And so what I see a lot is immaturity perpetuated year after year after year after year in guys. So for a Christian man, you need to see yourself growing stronger, deeper, more in maturity. You got to step up in life. You need to be serving in your family where you are right now, because one day you're going to have to take care of another family. Okay? You want the sex? You've got to know how to serve. You want the intimacy? You've got to know how to love well with an action. You want the blessing of companionship and someone to sleep with every night? You've got to know how to be that mature man, because relationships are work. So Christian dudes right now, start serving your family, start learning how to manage money. Even the little bit that you have, you may not have a lot, learn how to manage that little. Learn how to get vision for your future, launching yourself into the next space. You need to have that as a Christian man. You need to have devotion to God. Prayer is not a thing you do. It's a person you get to spend time with. Jesus, in his word. I love the moments I get to sit down and just ponder scripture, because I get smarter, I get stronger, I get better, because the word of God never comes back empty. It always fills me. Moments when I get to spend in prayer, they bless me. So Christian guys have always got to be growing. They always have to be hungry to get to the next level. Don't stay in immaturity. Girls don't respect immature guys. They think they're funny. They may go out with you on a date or two, but they don't want to marry you.
Wow. Okay, so as a Christian guy, then when it comes to a girl, what we would be providing is basically protection, security, and maturity or leadership.
And you're also providing for this person companionship. You're providing for them friendship. You should be wonderful friends with the person that you're with. I'm not saying you're just the one who's providing everything. I mean, you should learn how to communicate. I can't tell you how many high school guys I would meet. Some of them would be complete players. Others would be kind of airheads, you know, and then but they all lacked one thing, because they've been so consumed in video games or just kind of on the computer. They don't know how to have real conversations. What I love about you, Valdrix, you genuinely know how to have good conversations. You know, you really have mastered that. And so you've kind of taken this to the podcast realm. Bro, I think that's beautiful. I think God's going to use you to do great things in your life, and you will truly bless people. You know how to talk to people, how to continue having conversations. I think that's very important for Christian guys to learn and to step out of the cowardly space of fear of rejection, which is a hard one. You know, you don't want to pursue girls because you're like, well, she might say no, and makes it awkward. Well, you don't have to pursue it strange. Just, hey, do you wanna go hang out with us? We're going.
Okay, question. Do you feel like the church could, like, you know, play a part in your, like, helping guys do that? You know, like, teach guys some games. Like, I mean, so, like, what do you think the church, like, so, like, let's say past, like, what do you think praxis, like, could do in order to, like, help facilitate that process, especially like for guys?
I mean, what we do, we have what's called life groups.
Okay.
And we do it 3 times a year. And this is the thing. Every year we would have life groups with guys groups and just girls groups. And in these spaces, we would read books on how to be a godly man, how to lead well. And that's important. But it's interesting, this last season, not one guy signed up for the guys group. Not one guy.
Okay, I'll be honest. Like at first, like I wanted to, but then I feel like I thought like we're just gonna like read the Bible again. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, I was like, I've already read the Bible so many times. like I read it so many times. I was like, but like you guys said it as like something like that was, you know, like good
legit
or anything. So I'm just like,
yeah.
So I mean, like maybe if you said that, then I feel like
it would be different.
I would be like more enticed, you know.
Okay.
So,
well, maybe we need to do better PR. That's a big fault of the church. We don't do good PR and stuff.
Yeah. So like not even one guy. Wow.
There was one guy that was like, hey, I'm thinking about signing up. He was like the last day. I was like, bro, there's no one else. So join another group. He's like, dang, okay, all right. You know, I felt terrible. So I think you're making a good point. We need to do better PR. We need to talk about the intentional stuff we're going to cover there. But every other season, hey, there were like 10, 12 guys in the other 5 seasons. So I don't know. It was just something weird with this one. Wow. But that's one way that we provide intentional mentorship for guys, how to go to the next level. It's always about how do you mature as a man? How do you learn how to lead a woman thoughtfully? And then I always do personal counseling with people, man. I'm working with a guy who is in his 30s, literally has not ever had a girlfriend, doesn't know how to really talk with girls, struggles to engage well. He doesn't realize how he acts, kind of pushes people away. It's hard to get someone to tell you the truth. Bro, your feet smell. You need to get that checked out, you know, or you talk way too much. You need to learn how to pause and, you know, so
okay, so question. So like for this, so since we're going back to church and everything, do you like, so like what are the status of the like life groups? So like if somebody's like watching right now, like was like that sounds like something that could help me, like even me, because like, so like, is it still open? Like,
so this summer, starting very beginning of June, so in about 6 weeks, we're going to be launching the summer session of life groups, and it's open to anyone. Follow us on IG, Praxis Ministry. Right now, at least we have kind of the Friday night service for young adults going, so that's at 7:30. Come out to that. We have a beautiful contemporary service called Anthem at 10:30 on Saturday mornings. Just great place for people to connect here at the Loma Linda University campus. So that's one way. The other thing I would say is this. There's a lot of great books out there. If you want to grow to be a godly woman, a godly man, there's a lot of good stuff out there. Just literally even Google, how do I become a godly man, godly woman? Look that up. One of our life groups, we read Mansfield's book of Manly Men. It was awesome, man. It talked about characters in history who were real men. It talked about Bible passages that kind of helped you. And that was a great book. And I encourage people to read that one for sure.
Okay, because like, so like, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, like, so, you know, Pastor also, right? So like 2 weeks ago, like, cause like, I'm kind of like in the, I'm like in the phase where like, I'm questioning myself, like how do I become a man? You know what I mean? Like, cause like, that's why I'm wondering, like, how do I become a man? Like, am I a man? Like, what does it take to be a man? Cause like, so I texted, I was like, yo, bro, like, when did you know you became a man? So let me ask you this question. When did you know you became a man? Like, when did you be like, yeah, I'm a man now?
Oh man, Val, I think that's such a good question to be asking, bro. And it's so funny. I think I asked that question of myself all through my teenage years, all through my early 20s, into my late 20s. It's like, am I an adult and a real man right now? But I think I really felt it when I kind of started making some decisions for myself that I knew were wise.
Okay.
You can make a lot of decisions for yourself that are foolish, and you can feel like, I'm a man now, bro. Wow. I had sex with that girl. I for sure am a man now. You know, I drank, I smoked, I did, X, Y, and Z, and you're like, I'm an adult, I'm a man for sure. But when you start making decisions with wisdom that launch you well into the next chapter of your life in maturity and stability, foundation, that's when you know that God has imparted you wisdom and you're walking in faithfulness. So what does that look like? I mean, it looks like, hey, do I take care of the people in my life? Or am I just taking care of me? Selflessness is manhood. Strength and learning how to lead, how to take care of people, how to shepherd people, and you can do that in simple ways. Literally, Valdrix, I'm looking at you. I mean, you take care of your little brother and sister, support mom, at home, clean up, cook. Hey, let's do dinner, guys. Hey, you need to go to bed. Are you working on your homework? Let's get, you're starting to act responsibly. So
basically,
those are all.
Responsibility makes a man.
Responsibility and wisdom and God's blessing makes a man. And listen, the thing is, technically, you are a man by the state right now. You do a crime, you're charged, and as an adult, you're a man, you're indicted. But I know a lot of people who are in their 50s and 60s that are foolish boys that are still messing around. I mean, dude, it's not cool to just act like an idiot and immature still for this long. So responsibility, wisdom, genuinely having like a solid character, those are signs. I think this is the word I would say. It's not an if you are, if you're not, but it's more so, am I becoming more and more of a thoughtful, good, and honest man?
Now I want to talk about, so let's go back to like at the beginning where you were saying that like when it comes to like dating, does look and like sexual attraction matters in a Christian relationship? Or should we just be like, because like, is it okay for a guy to find a girl like physically attractive and try and go after her because he finds her physically appealing? Or is it like, not?
Oh man, I mean, listen, the thing is, if you don't find your spouse attractive, that's gonna be trouble. That's gonna be trouble. I mean, you need to find the person that you're married to attractive. Absolutely. I need to be working out a little bit more and getting physically fit so that my wife can say, hey, you look like that bro I married when we were together 12 years ago. So right now, that's what I'm working on, because I want to be peak performance at all levels in my life with my wife. I want to be physically attractive to her. There's nothing wrong with that. It is absolutely wrong though if it's the only thing you're looking at.
Okay.
If it's just like, is this person physically attractive or not? That's not a good rubric of whether or not to pursue someone. Because I know a lot of beautiful people when I was younger who were horrible people.
Wow.
Who were foolish, immature. I would not want to have kids with this girl kind of people.
Wow.
So you got to remember, attractiveness is only one aspect to look at. But yeah, you should be excited about who you're with, man. That's important. You're with them for life, but their character though needs to be the most important thing. So you talk about, okay, they're wealthy, they're beautiful, they're smart, they have a great job, but an awful character. Come on, man.
Wow.
You're not going to want to be with that person. You know, it's like you can. So it's one of the things, but it can't be the thing. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think it's true, and I feel like, okay, because like maybe like this is just like a vague statement, but like I feel like we do, like, people at church do care about how they look, but I feel like maybe it's like where I grew up, but I feel like people at church put less emphasis on how they look than people outside of church.
Yeah.
I feel like we have that like accept me as I am mentality.
Sure.
Because we're all Christians, so I feel like we don't put as much. I feel like looking good is a duty that you have to your partner. Just like I feel like sex is also like a duty too that you have to your partner. I feel like marriage is like a contract, so there are things that you need to do in order to fulfill the contract. So I feel like look and sexuality should matter, but I don't feel like it's talked about, so people just like gloss over it and stuff.
Oh, Valdrix, I think you're right, man, because the thing is, like, how can I please this person today? Taking care of yourself is one of those things. Staying physically fit, watching what you eat, watching what you watch and listen to. How does it affect you emotionally? Dude, all these things are important. Staying at your peak level. Yeah, I agree with you. I would say this one thing: marriage, I would change it to the word, it's a covenant. And not necessarily a contract. When people hear the word contract, they assume, okay, here we go. This is A, B, C, D. You're supposed to do all these things. If you don't do them, then we can just, this is done. We're over, you know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, marriage isn't just a contract, because even when, for instance, you don't look great, you go through a season of depression, you gain like 50, 60 pounds, you lose your job, like these difficult things happen in a marriage. You can't just give up on that person. Forget it. Because marriage isn't just a contract. It's a stronger word. It's a biblical word. It's called covenant. And covenant is something in which God does with his people all the time. He says, I've made a covenant with you. And covenant is, even when you don't fulfill your part, I will still choose what you were talking about earlier, this idea of choice and love. That's God. He's saying, I still will choose to love you, take care for you, to be with you, to even help you fulfill your part. And that's what grace is. That's what Jesus did for us on the cross. He did what we were supposed to do, but he did it because he loved us. So marriage is this enactment of the salvation story in which we love one another even in our difficult seasons and help them, support them. But that all to say, bro, those are really important. I don't think we should neglect physical things. That's valuable.
Okay. So when it comes to like the word dating, like, do you think that like dating, like the act of dating, is even worth it? Since, like you said previously, like we can just basically stay friends, because dating is like, if you want to follow like the Christian way of dating, it's basically friends without sex. So I mean, like, why couldn't you just stay friends, and then like when you want to get married, then you just ask them to marry you or not? It's like, is there a need for dating then?
Yeah, there absolutely is a need for dating, for sure. Because listen, if you have this kind of friendship term, and then all of a sudden they start being really nice friends with someone else, you're like, hey, come on, I thought we were really good friends, you know. there's this idea of exclusivity is very important when you're developing a relationship. I am exclusively yours and you are exclusively mine. When people want to say, no, you're exclusively mine, but I'm also with everybody else. Though that's messed up. That's a player. That's a play girl. You know, that's someone who doesn't value the relationship well, and they're taking advantage of your friendship. So exclusivity is very important because it also builds a sense of commitment to one another.
Okay.
It builds a sense of understanding. I am for you and you're for me. We're going somewhere. So it isn't just this ambivalence. I think a lot of guys need to name out loud where the relationship is headed.
So you want us to put a label on it?
It's important to put labels on it in due season when you sense and believe this is the right person. That's very important. There's some guys I work with who they're struggling to be able to say like, maybe we should get married. They're unsure because marriage is a big commitment. So they're scared. But I think there needs to be a bigger understanding, like marriage is a beautiful thing, man. It's hell amazing. Bro, I love marriage. There have been some painful seasons. There have been some hardships, but man, it is the best thing ever. I love it.
Okay, can I ask you a question though? I mean, like, how is it different from just being like a long-term relationship? I mean, like, did you have to get married, like, to love Elena?
Yes, I did. Because I go back to the same thing I told you. Exclusivity. You can't just say something out loud if you're going to be a believer. You can't just say something out loud and say, I hope you understand you're exclusively mine and I'm exclusively yours, without making a commitment to not only the two of you, but to a community of people who's watching you, and to God himself. Lord, you see the commitment I've made to this woman. All of you here who are witnesses. That's how it goes, right? Wow. And to all these witnesses here, I am choosing this person. I've sadly walked into relationships, I walked into a restaurant, I remember one time, and I look at this guy and I'm like, are you on a date with this girl? And he was on a date, he was in a serious dating relationship with someone else. And he's like, yeah, I'll call you later. He was having an affair.
Wow.
You know, it's just like, wait a second. Let's name what's going on. And it's this exclusivity that is important for the health and well-being. So funny, Valdrix, have you ever seen the TV show called Sister Wives?
I've seen snippets of it, but I've never watched the whole thing.
Okay. You don't probably need to watch it, but anyways, once in a while I watch. It is a Mormon man with 4 or 5 Mormon wives.
Okay, question. Okay, I was going there. Oh.
Wait. But I want to give this example first.
Go ahead.
Or fine, ask your question and then I'll talk about it.
Is having multiple wives not big? Is it bad? Like, if you can take care of them financially, can you not have multiple wives? Is polygamy or polyamorous a bad thing? Is it ungodly?
Yeah. Let's talk about that, because I think that's a real question people are asking. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the story because it explains this perfectly. Okay, they are in the middle of an argument, and a couple of the wives are crying. The husband's over there, and he's like, "Why are all of you having so many problems with each other? Why is there all this fighting?" And then he looks at the camera and he says, "I don't understand." And I'm like,
bro,
are you serious? You don't understand?
Wow.
Exclusivity. When one person doesn't feel as though they have your full attention, love, care, nurturing, sex even, When they know you're having sex with this person, when they know you're giving more time to that person and that person than they are to you, what happens? Jealousy,
yeah.
Anger, violence, frustration. And these women were fighting back and forth with each other, and they're like, we might need a divorce. Like, what?
Wow.
You know, of course, the dude's like, I don't know why they're fighting. I was like, you idiot. Are you kidding me?
Okay, so we get it, but like, is it bad though? Like,
yeah, I'll tell you this.
Are you going to
for
hell?
Sure. No. We're not talking about hell here. Some people don't know that it's wrong. There are cultures that don't understand potentially that it is not the ideal. For instance, in missionary work, this was in my seminary class, okay? So we had some Adventist missionaries who were going to several countries in which there were polygamous marriages going on. They convert to Adventism, and they're like, what do we do with these wives? We have multiple. This isn't, the ideal. And the professor said that he looked at them and he said, do not take any more wives, but don't give them, don't just let them go. Because why? They were having to take care of them financially. And if they were to just be kind of thrown back out there, man, they could be harmed. They could be going into poverty. I mean, there were just so many things. And so they just said, don't take any more. Take care of the ones you have, and raise your children in a way in which they understand the value of exclusivity, a commitment to one person. That is the ideal. Because it happened in the Bible doesn't mean God condoned it.
You know exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I know. You're like,
I was gonna say, like, man, all these people, man, they had like, whew. I'm like, yeah. I was like, they had something. They had, yeah. So, go ahead.
Let me tell you this, though. The allurement of multiple partners now in our culture, Western culture here, is purely a sexual pleasure desire.
I know.
It is not because you want to actually take care of and make more kids and just help support all these women who are alone. It's not because of that. It's because of your own sexual deviant desire to have pleasure unending. That's the only reason. I don't know personally of anyone who's doesn't have that fantasy that's like, oh, I just like to nurture more kids out there in the world.
That's a lie. Oh wow. Okay, yeah, because like I've thought about that. So I was like, I mean, yeah, it's something I've thought about before. I was like, because like in the Bible, like now it sounds so alluring, but then like it's just like as everything, like it's like more money, more problems. So I feel like the more women you have, you definitely gonna have more problems. Just like in the episode that you mentioned of the sister wife. So I can see the practical way why you shouldn't.
Yes.
Do it.
Let me just say this. People think that you can have polyamorous relationships. You can have agreements with your dating partner. Hey, we're gonna just like in the middle of this, don't feel like bad, but I'm gonna go out with this person. We may sleep together, we may kiss, we may do stuff, but I'm yours. That is such a skewed vision of the biblical ideal. That was exactly what God fought against his people all the time. That's why in the 10 Commandments, the first two, it's like, do not have any other gods besides me. None other. I am a jealous God. I am a God, because he understands. He needs the framework of relationships to be of equality between one and one, not one and many.
Wow. So that's why he said, so basically he was giving us what we should follow, basically.
Yeah.
Because God doesn't have anybody else except the church, that take as his bride.
Yes.
Wow.
When they were going into Egypt, some of them wanted to take the gods with them that they had. He's like, no, leave that behind. You're with me, but you can't have this mix of this and that. I'm not for that. That's not my vision and ideal. Because this notion of jealousy is very important. Exclusivity creates safety. It creates intimacy. It creates trust. It creates harmony for a family and children, and balance. Is very, very difficult when families, for instance, go through divorce and there's two parents now, two sets of parents. It's hard on kids. The future is not as easy and ideal as it would be, but that's life. You got to work through it. But don't pursue stupidity like polyamory just because you want to please your sexual pleasures. That's a person that needs to seek repentance, because not all of your feelings and desires are from God. Just because society says, hey, that's fine, doesn't mean you should be pursuing that. And I could talk about this for a long time, man, when some people are like, well, no, I don't think that. No, man, you're just doing that because you are wanting to be sexually promiscuous. You don't want to have a strong sense of commitment. You want to explore. No, that's not okay.
Okay, so you know how at the beginning you said that like when guys have sex, it doesn't have the same like emotional like bond that like if women has it. So what do you think of like what negative effect does a guy having like a lot of like hookups and stuff have on his future relationship, when technically they're not really affecting him, or is it affecting him but he doesn't know?
Well, this is the thing I'll say. In that study that I was quoting and telling you about, I wish I had the name of it exactly. It isn't that the guy isn't affected. It's just he's not affected as much as the girl is. Okay. So, for instance, guys who pursue hookups and this pattern, dude, you're habituating this. I take from you and I walk away. Take, walk away. Take, walk away. You don't have, again, this notion of like serving you, loving you, committed to you. It messes with the guy biochemically, because he starts literally, we know in brain science that when you are pursuing a certain pattern over and over, you start building a deep road like through your brain that like now it's quicker. Now it's like, this is what I do. This is what happens. So when you start doing this repeatedly, you're affecting how you engage with people. You don't know how to have long-lasting commitment with people. You don't recognize the value in real healthy relationships. You're an abuser, a user, and you walk away.
Wow.
So
now, with that said,
dangerous.
I feel like the burden of relationship is truly on the men then. Because like there's a saying that says that like men control access to relationship and women control access to sex. So I feel like that, like what you say, just makes it like so much heavy. I feel like as men, like I have like the most what's it called, responsibility in the relationship, right? You know what I mean? Like and like making sure like the relationship is successful and everything.
Oh, totally. Valdrix, I agree with you in a large part, and I'm going to show you this, okay? I think the woman and the guy have a lot to give, but I think what you're saying, there's some real big truth to this. Look at this. Ephesians chapter 5 in the Bible here. The Apostle Paul, amazing guy, wrote a lot of the New Testament, most of it. He writes this in Ephesians 5, verse 25. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. And what does that mean? How did Christ love the church?
I mean, he literally died for it.
That's the kind of love you need to bring to a relationship, a sacrificial love that says, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to protect, care for, love, and cherish this woman. And that sometimes means swallowing your pride, learning how to forgive first, this is big what Paul is talking about here, man.
Wow. Now I understand why. Like, have you ever watched this movie where like the man was like to protect his family, like he took the bullet, like all this, like now it's starting to make sense. Like I guess like it really is since the creation of time, like a man's role to like provide and protect and everything. I see how it makes sense now.
And it's hard for some guys because they feel like they can't do it for one reason or another, and it breaks them. And it breaks them. It creates real mental and emotional instability within them because they feel as though the most basic thing I can't provide. Wow. And so that's where I think there needs to be good communication between a husband and wife to say, hey, how can we work on this together? You know, that's why I go back to this mutual submission, mutual serving. That's beautiful, you know, and that's marriage.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for being on my podcast. Thank you for answering all those questions that I low-key wouldn't ask at church. So that's kind of like the purpose of my podcast. I feel like there's a lot of questions that I find it easier to talk outside of church. So, but yeah, thank you for coming and giving us your thought. Like any last words that you want to say?
Oh man, I would just encourage everyone who's watching here today. God has a plan for your life. You are created with a purpose, and never envision that you're just an accident. You're a beautiful creation. God has called you. You are his princess, his prince. That means live up to that. Start living a life worthy of what God believes you to be like. But don't ever feel as though he's abandoned you because of your past. You are not labeled by your past. God has so much more in store for you. Forgiveness is for you, but then now it's your turn to choose the path of repentance. And that literally means in the Greek, turning. Turn to him and turn to the good light. Love you guys, care for you. Thank you so much, Valdrix. Inspired by you and what you're doing, man. Proud of you, brother.
Thank you. So let's say like somebody's watching, like a guy is watching like me, and he's having all these questions, and he would like to get in contact with you. Our girl-to might be asking all the questions too. So how can they go about contacting you?
Sure. Anyone can follow me on Instagram, Phil, FIL_Milo. Maybe you can throw that on the bottom there for people. So please, I'd be happy to reach out and talk, any one of you. And if you even want to text me, 269-599-4198. I'm on your team.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, guys, I'll put all these information down in the description. So please make sure you check the description. I'll put the email, I'll put the church address, I'll put the Instagram and everything down below. So make sure you guys please go down there and check it out. So thank you so much, Pastor Phil, for coming. And I will see you guys in the next episode. All right.